Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 204, Hugo Takes Flight. The Sodor Airport is a lively place, and Jeremy the jet plane is kept very busy flying passengers to the mainland and back. One morning, however, things came to a stop. Everybody had gathered around the Sodor airship hangar. "We have a very special visitor coming to Sodor tomorrow," announced Sir Topham Hatt. "I don't want to give away anything just yet, but it has to do with this miniature blimp here." "Wow," said Donald. "If the rumors are true, you could be looking at some new competition, Jeremy." "What rumors? What's going on? I'm not getting replaced, am I?" But Sir Topham Hatt still wouldn't say what the surprise was. Jeremy was growing increasingly worried. "Do you think I'm slow and way out of date?" he asked Harold one morning. "Of course not. If anything, you and I are very up to date. Air travel is the future, you know. Keep your spirits up, just like your wings, old chap." But Jeremy was still uncertain. Then came the big announcement. A huge crowd of people had gathered at the airport for the unveiling of the surprise. "Do you know what it will be?" asked Butch. "I don't know," said Jeremy quietly. "I just hope it doesn't replace me." "And now, may I finally present to you all, Hugo the Rail Zeppelin." Suddenly there was a huge whoosh over the hill, and a bright shiny engine slid to a stop. The crowd cheered and thunderous applause followed. "What on earth is that?" asked Butch. "It kinda looks like an engine." "And it kinda looks like an aeroplane," squealed Caroline. "A rail zeppelin?" questioned Jeremy. "Huh, well, I've never heard of one." Hugo stood around the airport for hours as people continued to take pictures of him. Jeremy was growing cross, as his passengers wouldn't board because they were too busy with the special engine. "At this rate, I won't have time to fly back to Sodor before it gets dark," he muttered. "This new engine is quite a nuisance." At last, all of Jeremy's passengers climbed aboard and he was ready to take off. "Sorry to keep you waiting," shouted Hugo. "I'm more popular than I ever thought I would be." But Jeremy wasn't impressed, and he raced down the runway without a word. The next day there was still a fuss over Hugo, this time with the other engines. "What's this on your back here?" asked Billy. "Don't get too close," laughed Hugo. "It's a propeller, and it will snip your buffers right off." The engines laughed. "You are a very unique engine," admitted Daisy. "It's so nice to have another rail car on the railway. Say, how are your swaggers and swerves?" What?" asked Hugo. "Yes, those are very important. If you have any issues, I know an excellent fitter who would be more than happy to make things right." Yes, thank you. Well, I'm sorry to say, but I must be going now. I have many stops around the railway today, and I can't be late." "Oh, of course," said Whiff. "An important engine like you is always busy, I'm sure. Let's give him some space, shall we?" Jeremy had been watching the scene from his hangar and was not impressed. "I guess if you stick anything remotely interesting on a set of wheels and call it an engine, everyone will come flocking to see it," he muttered. "What's your problem?" asked Caroline. "Do you not like this new Hugo fellow?" "No, it's not that," he stammered. "It's just, well, he's clogging up my airport, that's for sure." "Oh, that's not the real reason," laughed Caroline. "I think someone's a little jealous." "I'm not jealous of anything," said Jeremy, "and I'm certainly not jealous of whatever that is. At least I can fly, something that Hugo will never be able to do." "Oh, whatever. I think he's pretty futuristic. And handsome." "Caroline," shouted Jeremy, "how dare you?" Caroline smiled and pulled slowly away. Jeremy still wasn't impressed with Hugo, but decided he was willing to give him a chance. "Hello there," he said the next morning. "I haven't properly introduced myself. My name's Jeremy. I'm the airplane that lives here at the airport." "Nice to meet you, Jeremy. I am Hugo, the world's fastest and only rail zeppelin." "Oh, I see. You're one of a kind, I suppose." "Say, I'm not super familiar with rail zeppelins and all, so please tell me exactly what is your purpose." "Well, I can carry passengers." "But you can't pull rolling stock," interrupted Jeremy. "Well, no, these couplings are just for show." "And your propeller is quite dangerous in crowded areas like stations, yes?" "I suppose so. I mean, I always try and be careful when I'm around passengers." "And you're the only rail zeppelin in existence because—" "I have a few problems," admitted Hugo, "but I am the future, just like this blimp here is to aeroplanes." Jeremy laughed. "Well, I'm still here, working and carrying passengers every day, and how many blimps do you see flying around at the moment?" Hugo looked up to the sky. "Well, it's hard to see because of how cloudy it is." "Right," said Jeremy. "Well, nice to meet you, Hugo. I have some flying to do, something that I can actually do, and you can't. But feel free to try if you like." Hugo was not happy with Jeremy's comments. "I am a rail zeppelin," he said firmly. "I am the future, and I can do anything I put my mind to." Later that day, Jeremy returned to Sodor and noticed Nelson and Jack were sitting by the tracks. "What's going on?" he asked. "What are you guys looking for?" "It's that Hugo engine," replied Nelson. "He's been racing around the rails trying to set a speed record or something." "He's going very fast," added Jack. "So fast that every time he comes over this bridge here, it looks like he's flying." "Uh-oh," said Jeremy. "That's not good." "Look, here he comes," shouted Nelson. Hugo came flying down the track near the diesel works. He rounded the bend and, for a moment, it did look like Hugo was flying, until he crash-landed onto the track and slid to a violent stop. "Oh no!" shouted Jack. "I hope he's okay." Hugo had derailed, but he looked unhurt. Jeremy rolled up to where he lay stopped. "I didn't mean what I said earlier, Hugo. You can't fly, and I don't think you should try either. Leave that stuff to the professionals." "Oh, you're right," he admitted. "You brought up so many bad things about me that I was determined to prove how useful I was." "Yeah, that wasn't very nice of me," said Jeremy. "I was jealous of all of the attention you were receiving from the passengers and other engines. Truth is, you are a really cool piece of engineering that deserves to have people taking pictures of it." Hugo smiled. "Thank you, Jeremy, and you are a very useful aeroplane who does a great job." Even though they had gotten off to a rocky start, things were beginning to look up for Hugo and Jeremy. "Let's put all of this behind us," he said. "You keep your wheels on the ground, and I'll keep mine in the sky, just like we were meant to."